everyone, and welcome to Theatre Planet Home Series. My name is Josh Wichard, and I'm here to tell you about my experience as an acting ASM. Now, very importantly, before we get started, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, which is here, maybe, so that you'll be notified every time there's a new video. So, acting ASM, or Assistant Stage Manager, is a role that incorporates both stage management duties and acting duties. So it's normally a role that's found within casts that are smaller or plays with a smaller budget. So in my instance, the cast was about 13. That included 2 acting ASMs, one female, one male. And our jobs were to sort of organise tea and coffee for the green room during the theatres, organise props and set up the props tables when we were touring in each new venue, and also to understudy about 3 or 4 parts each. So it's quite a daunting role. Touring is a very subjective experience because everyone has a very different time. Before I went on tour, I spoke to someone who was in a tour, can't remember what it was, and she was understudy for one of the other parts, and she didn't go on in the whole year of touring. So she was an offstage understudy, so she never got to go on stage. Which is great because you're getting paid, but also you're not actually performing. I was quite lucky in that I had about 3 weeks total, and then a couple other random days where I got to go on sort of for the lead for a couple of other smaller parts. But it's very subjective. You never know what's going to happen or who's going to go off sick, or it can all be very, very last minute, especially when you're touring and there's travel issues and weather issues, and you never know. You never know. I found keeping creative, keeping active, and constantly refreshing my mind and going over things. You do have understudy rehearsals, but in my instance, there weren't enough understudies to play every part. So occasionally in understudy rehearsals, you'll be doing one part, and then you'll flip, and you'll be doing the other part, and you're doing both characters in one scene. So it's good to just stay creative. I took a guitar with me, because I love playing guitar and I knew that I couldn't go a whole year without playing guitar. So it's good to just kind of keep your mind busy and also just stay on top of everything, because you really never know what's going to happen in the next venue. There are definitely pros and cons to touring. I think everyone, as I said, everyone has a very different experience, and it depends what you enjoy doing. We do get months off where you get to go home and relax and get back into your old routine, but it can be quite exhausting. We did weekly touring, so it's a different city every week. So Sunday, you get on a train from one city to the next, set up, do your week, Sunday, you repeat. So it can be quite tiring. You're living out of a suitcase, you're staying in random people's sort of spare rooms, and that's very hit and miss. But you also, for me, I got to perform in more theatres than I ever thought I would in my entire career. I've performed in some really bizarre, small, like seaside theatres where you have to chop bits off the set because it doesn't fit in. And I've performed in enormous, beautiful old theatres in cities I never thought I'd go to. So it is amazing in that regard. I got to go to so many places. I'd never been to Scotland. I got to go there twice. I got to go to Wales 3 times. It was really amazing. You just see so many things, and if you're lucky like me and you have a cast of people that you love, you get to go excuse me, you get to go all around the country and see amazing places and experience amazing things with people you love. One week we were sort of doing a pottery workshop in Stoke-on-Trent, and the other we were in Swansea, swimming in the sea of the most beautiful beaches in 30-degree sun. So if you like the idea of being on the move and seeing new places, then yeah, you will love touring. I know I absolutely adored it. I would aspire to have a role, or just be a role in something that I care about, and that I would perform and people would leave thinking that they watched a piece of theatre that moved them or affected them. Obviously, like being a lead in a soap opera would be great. Everyone likes sort of exposure and money. But yeah, something in obviously the West End would be great, and then I could stay in my home. But I would just love to work in the theatre and be able to say that I am more actor than normal job than actor. So I guess my ideal role would be to be happy. But yeah, I'd love to do theatre that affects people and challenges them. I want people to leave thinking about what they've seen. Whilst I loved stage management and I loved the new experience and learning new skills and crafts, it's not something that I personally would like to forward in my career, just because it's not a direction that I see my career going. Whilst I got to work with Adam, who was amazing and is a very, very dear friend of mine, it's personally not for me, but I would encourage everyone, if an acting ASM job came up and you're at the beginning of your career, absolutely take it. As I said, you don't know what's going to happen. I got lucky and ended up getting a smaller part and going on loads, but also just to work in a professional theatre company, touring for 6 months, 8 months, a year, is a completely invaluable experience. So don't write it off, don't discredit it, especially if you're at the beginning of your career. This sounds super, super cliche, but the advice that I would give to anyone at the beginning of their career would just be, give it everything. I realised before I went to drama school, I'd written it off, and I realised that I'd rather be on my deathbed saying, you know what, I tried it, I gave it a shot and it didn't work out, than saying, I wish I'd tried that. So just take the risks that you want to take, and if you want to try something, then just try it. It's important to be happy and focus on what you want to do, and just take risks and give it everything. Some people left the industry after we graduated very soon, but I knew that I wanted to stick it out. And there are times when you're sat in a stockroom crying at your normal job because you haven't read a script in 3 months. So just stick it out. Stay creative, stay in touch with people. And even if you're just reading a script on, a webcam chat with your friends, just keep the creative juices flowing, make your own work. People like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they've made their own work, and that's afforded them incredible opportunities. So take risks, stay creative, and never live with regret. That's my cliche advice. The importance of a good stage management team is, I think, communication and morale. Stage management is sort of the glue that holds everything together, and that goes from the acting ASMs who are looking after props and tea and coffee in the green room, to the DSM who's doing all the lighting calls and sound calls, and then the CSM who's organising pay slips and looks after the company and does all the moves. They are the glue that holds everything together, and communication and morale is such an important part. When you're on tour in a small company, going from city to city, it can be very intense and very stressful, and so communication and a sense of openness that you can talk to people if there's a problem is absolutely essential. I know that we had issues occasionally with lack of communication, and the difference between when there was great communication and when there wasn't spoke volumes. So yeah, it's a really essential role, and communication and morale are some of the most important things from stage management. My happy place is either back home with my family in Somerset and my dogs, who I miss greatly, especially during lockdown, or maybe here in my flat with London, in London with my friends, my guitars, my PlayStation, because I'm a big old geek. But essentially, I'm happiest when I'm with my friends and my family. So that's my happy place. Either there or the deli counter in Tesco's. So that brings me to the end of my video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, give us a big thumbs up. And if you have any questions, you can message me on Twitter or Instagram, which will be maybe here, who knows, maybe here. And if that doesn't work, you can always pop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all soon.